Welcome back. Today I want to talk about OM Japa in the chakras and how that is really interrupting the natural outflow of your energy and your consciousness and the attachment to the world. How is that outflow process working, and how is the OM Japa interrupting that process? What does that look like, and what does it cause? What is the end result of all of this OM Japa? So, let's get into it. First, we need to get into how is this outflow process working through the five senses, through the central nervous system. So first of all, you have a brain, and that brain creates understanding of your life. And all of that understanding is projected down through your central nervous system. So it's not only projected through the front, it's also projected through the back, it's also projected through the middle. So the ventral vagal in the front, the dorsal vagal in the back, and the sympathetic all the way weaving through all of that. The brain and its projections go through that entire system of your central nervous system. And that creates the front, middle, and back of each chakra. And so we live with projections of words stuck in our throat, hurt in the heart, fear in the gut, dealing with the fears of being alive and the continuation of your own species. All of this is projected and worked out in your life through your central nervous system. So it's as if your consciousness is projected down from the brain, reaches through your central nervous system, finds a chakra which is associated with your five senses, reaches out, cognizes, and grabs onto in attachment the movie of your life. And this is the story that I tell about the monkey in the pot, right? So this hunter is walking through the jungle, and instead of running after all of these monkeys, he just puts out some pots, and he puts some cheese down at the bottom of the pot. And the monkey comes, and he reaches into the pot, and he grabs the cheese. But now his fist is larger than the hole to get his hand back out, and the monkey is stuck, and he refuses to let go of the prize of the cheese. And so the hunter comes and collects him. And the monkey's just sitting there. The hunter comes up and grabs him. And that is our attachment to the world. We reach out with fear, we reach out with attachment, we reach out with desire, and we grab onto that external world, which causes us pain. The hunter of pain comes to collect us, and we sit in our pain because we're unwilling to let go and detach. So that is the outflow of the energy and the consciousness which latches on to the external world. And instead of trying to solve every single attachment point from the point of attachment, the technology of OM Japa says, what if we just strike at the heart, at the root of the problem? Let's strike at the chakra where we're reaching through to grab. If we can interrupt that flow, then the entire problem will disappear. And so the OM Japa in the chakras is creating what we call in neurolinguistic programming a pattern interrupt. So if you know how a pattern works in your life, if you know exactly how it works, then you can interrupt that pattern. For example, somebody says, well, every time I come into work, I feel judged and I feel tight and I feel locked up inside of my body. I can't talk with the people around me. And so the question that you ask a person like that is, how do you know it's time to get locked up? What is the trigger that allows you to know it's time to get locked up? And so they trace it back in their minds very, very carefully, very, very minutely. And they will tell you, well, I walk in and I see that somebody's face is a little bit grumpy. And as soon as I see that, I start to project all these fears that I have onto that person. And so I lock myself up in preparation. I lock down and I don't express myself. So that is number 1, walk in. Number 2, see a grumpy face. Number 3, project all my fears. And number 4, lock myself down, right? That's the very core of the program that they are running in their lives over and over and over again. So when you figure out what you're doing wrong this minutely, you can interrupt that pattern, and it's kind of fun. And so you kind of go like this. You go, okay, so wait, let me get this straight. So you're walking into the office and you see somebody with a grumpy face, and so immediately you tell them a joke, and everybody starts laughing. And of course, the person that you're working with, they go, no, that's not it. And you say, well, what would happen if you did that? So you're coming into the office. Can you see this? You're coming into the office and you see a grumpy face and you go, hey, I got this joke. I got to tell you this funny, silly joke. Can you see yourself doing that? And as soon as they run through the program and they deviate from the structure that they were in, you're now doing a pattern interrupt. And the idea is to run that interrupt enough that you dissolve the rut that they're doing mentally. They're in this rut. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to do this over and over again. I have to do this every single time. That is their mental rut. And the pattern interrupt says, well, let's go somewhere else. Let's go over here. Okay, let me get this straight. You're walking into the office and you see a grumpy face, and then everybody jumps out and they celebrate because they're having a fiesta in the middle of the day. And they say, no, that's not what happened. Okay, but what would happen if you did that? Like if you walked in and you had balloons and you handed out balloons, like what would happen? And so you're just interrupting that rut, and you're interrupting that rut, and you're giving them a different option. You're giving them a different option because people think that they have to go in these mental ruts. They don't realize they have options. They have a bajillion options in every single direction. So you walk into the office and you see a grumpy face and you ask them what's wrong, and they say, oh, I just ate a sour lemon. I just ate a really sour lemon. That's all. I'm totally fine. Is that what happens? And so you just interrupt and interrupt and interrupt, and you give them mental options. And it's a wonderful technique for getting out of ruts. That's very simple, very easy. You have to do it over and over again until their mind goes, oh my God, I don't have to be in this rut. What have I been doing? So it's just interrupting that pattern, right? That's a pattern interrupt. And the OM Japa in the chakras is working in a very, very similar manner. It's a energetic or consciousness pattern interrupt. Very beautiful. So to understand this pattern interrupt, imagine for a moment or feel as if you are in the movie theater. And we all know that the movie that we see on the screen in front of us is coming from the projector behind us. But you get so into the movie. Oh my God, what's going to happen? You're all locked up into the movie. This is the attachment, right? This is the emotional, energetic consciousness attachment to the outside world that we are creating every single day. And so we're into the movie. What's going to happen? We forgot it's just a show. It's just a movie, right? In that moment, we're all locked up in the movie. And then somebody goes and puts their hand right in front of the stream, right in front of the projector. They interrupt the image. And what does everybody in the entire movie theater do instantly when a big hand appears and interrupts that image everybody's locked into? What is everybody in the theater going to do instantly? Boom. We all look backwards to see who is interrupting the projector. And that is exactly what is happening in the Om Japa in the chakras. When you're doing a Kriya Yoga and you're following Lahiri Mashaya, which tells you it has to have the Om Japa in it, when you're listening to that advice from Lahiri Mashaya and you're doing the Om Japa, that is exactly what's happening. We're all looking backwards to the projector. So we send the Om into the chakra. It interrupts that flow of attachment, the flow of attachment to the external world. It interrupts that, and we all start looking backwards towards the brain. The energy bounces backwards to the brain, and we're not doing it just once. We're doing it in all 6 of the chakras, from the coccyx to the medulla. We're doing all of that work and causing all of that energy and all of that consciousness to bounce backwards towards the brain. Somebody puts the hand up, what's going on? We all look backwards instantly. So you Om into the chakras, the consciousness rises back towards the brain. In that moment, in the theater, when somebody puts their hand in between the projector and the film, we break the myth of what we believe that we are in. Oh my God, I'm in this movie, and suddenly somebody puts up their hand, and it breaks that. It breaks the 4th wall, and we all remember, oh my God, I'm in a movie theater. This is only a movie. I was so emotionally attached to what was going on, and oh my God, suddenly I remember, it's just a movie. It's just a dream. So in the process of Om Japa in the chakras, that is also what is happening. And we bounce back towards the higher nervous system, and we begin to taste freedom. In that moment, we rise above the lower concerns of the lower mind in the lower 3 chakras. We start to taste the upper nervous system: love, compassion, joy, bliss. My guru Ashokji, he said it again and again, keep directing yourself towards bliss. That will always send you in the correct direction. That's it. That's the upper nervous system. That is tasting the higher consciousness. And when you're in that higher consciousness, the lower concerns momentarily do not touch you. You are tasting freedom. So for example, in the Gayatri Mantra training, we're establishing this profound and deep connection into the left amygdala, and that is the deep brain. We're solidifying the deep brain over and over again in our lives, and it creates this profound learning and this profound connection. In that taste of freedom, we get the learning. Oh my God, I was so externally attached. And now in this moment, I'm not. I'm tasting what freedom is. Oh my God, it's just a movie. It's just a dream world. And I'm taking it so seriously. That's the deep and profound learning that we get over time. We taste the freedom, we fall back down, we get reattached, we take the world too seriously, we get drawn into outward concerns. Oh my God, I have to worry about this. Oh my God, I have to be afraid of that. We get locked up again. We chain ourselves. We say, I don't feel right. I think I need to be chained to something. And then we go out and we find a worry and we chain ourselves. And then we come back to the Om Japa, we taste freedom again. Oh yeah, it's just a silly movie. You taste that freedom again and again. You get the lesson, you get the learning, and that learning becomes so rich and deep and profound in you that you start to enjoy the movie without getting overly drawn into it. So you see yourself, wait a minute, it's just a dream. Yep, I'm in a movie theater. Wait a minute, I'm starting to figure this out. And we stop taking life so seriously. So in the end, it's the learning which sets you free. It's the growth and expansion of your own consciousness which begins to set you free. That is the profound and lasting gift of Om Japa in the chakras. That is the lasting and profound gift of Lahiri Mashaya. I hope this helps. I hope it creates a clear picture of how the Om Japa in the chakras, it's creating this pattern interrupt and reversing that flow back towards the brain. Not just energy, but your consciousness is growing up as you go back towards the upper nervous system and the deep brain. So I hope you love this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.